Shoots and Ladders, episode 9. This episode is called Time Out or Time is Up. What this simply means is there's certain wrestlers that have not been used creatively. Are they injured? Are there other things behind the scenes going on? Or is their time coming to an end with the respective companies or even the wrestling industry? Our first wrestler that we're going to talk about, and my girl Des is about to blow up, is Wardlow. All right. Go ahead.
Oh, where is my man Wardlow? That's what I want to know. I love him. I am one of his biggest fans, and he was just at the top of his game 2 years ago for AEW. He was TNT champion. You know, he had really great matches and with CM Punk, with Cody.
Yeah.
He had his beef with MJF and getting out of his little contract as his security guard. And he even teamed up with Samoa Joe as War Joe. And then all of a sudden, they took the title from him and he just kind of fell off. And then he came back with Undisputed Kingdom with Adam Cole, and he just disappeared on us.
Yeah, this definitely looks like a creative thing. It has to be. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen behind the scenes, but I'm with you. I mean, when you have a guy that's in all these major storylines and has a title and just kind of running through a lot of the competition, and then for them to just suddenly stop, I don't understand it. Obviously he's not injured, but yeah, this has to just be a creative, freeze, if you want to call it that. And they just don't know what to do with him, which is really sad because he has so much talent.
And I am so worried that they're going to lose such a great talent. And that's what he is. He's so athletic. And for his size, for what he can do, he is a big old boy, but he can do a swanton. He is so great on the mic. His mic skills, like a couple of the promos that he cut in, like, I want to say early January, February, where he was just, I feel like it was a shoot.
Yeah.
He was so good. And I'm like, he has improved every single time. His matches are great. He's very handsome. Yeah, he's a war daddy to me. And like, I'm like, you cannot screw this up. And I really hope this is a break and he's just going to come back and really get this title back. And I could see potentially that it was growing to be when Undisputed came after they got rid of MJF and they became that faction again. With Adam Cole coming out of his double ankle surgery, he mentioned that the goal was to everyone hold a title. So he wanted Wardlow to hold the title. And then when he got better, he would then give it up to Adam Cole. And I'm like, okay, well, we're basically writing, something, potentially a turn with Adam Cole and Wardlow, but then it just kind of fell. So don't screw this up, AEW. Like, he needs to be booked way better and consistent and stop hot potatoing his titles.
Yeah. 100% with, and you kind of said it right. A guy that is that big, that is that athletic, is super rare. He was over the fans, so the fact that they're not booking properly, don't get it. And we call this times out or times up. This could be, hey, look, if they continue to do this to him, his time may be up for the good. He can go somewhere else, get more money.
We know where he could go, because I know he did have a tryout years ago with the other group, and they told him to come back later when he builds his name, and he's got a hell of a name right now and a hell of a look. So, I don't know when his contract is up, so
yeah, I'm with you. All right,
I want you back.
Gotcha. All right, next guy we're gonna go over is Jay Lethal. This one's an interesting one because it looked like he was on the up and up for quite some time, and then not sure what's going on there. What do you think?
Yeah. It was around that same time frame with Wardlow, like 2 years ago. That's who he won his title from, I believe, I think it was Jay Lethal. Maybe not, but I know he was in with Jeff Jarrett at that time, with consistent matches, but I don't I haven't seen him lately. Maybe I've missed a couple of episodes, or maybe there's something going on where he is taking a longer break, but I haven't seen him in a while, and I really like Jay Lethal.
Yeah, I mean, again, another guy that clearly has a lot of talent and has the athletic ability. Was over with the fans again. This has to just be bad booking. That's the only thing we can think of. Another thing, another thing that I kind of want to throw out there is, I mean, I remember being a little kid and buying wrestling figures, and $5 is a huge deal. And I used every single one of those figures because there was no way I was going to spend the money and not play with them and not use them, not utilize them to the maximum potential. Yeah. These guys are getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and they're not being used, which really makes no sense. So if $5 is a lot to me, how much is a couple $100,000 per wrestler to a promoter? So I really don't get that at all.
And I know with AEW that they are allowed to go do, I guess, other independent promotions. They obviously can't go to WWE and do anything like that related, but they can do other smaller ones. And I know a lot of them, because I follow them on social media, they do go to those conventions for the meet and greets. They do surprise matches. So I know that's where some of them have gone during their downtime. But you're right, with those size contracts, I would think that they would be booking them consistently.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next guy we want to move on to is Powerhouse Hobbs. The name kind of speaks for itself. Obviously, he kind of fits a certain persona. But as far as maybe creatively, they don't know how to use those type of guys. We're kind of seeing a theme with some of these bigger guys. What do you think?
I was just about to say, because he was in something with Wardlow too, and he's the one who got the title from him, with the whole Samoa Joe match as well. So it's like, I don't know if it's a creative thing where they don't know how to book these bigger guys.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see the trend now, looking at our list, that that's what it is. And I know those bigger guys, they have so much more. It's not just, I can throw you around, kind of like a Goliath type match, but they're also really great on the mic. They're very charismatic characters. So it's not like they're just showing up and, just doing one finisher and that's it. That's how they booked a couple of them for a few matches, where they walk in and he'll power bomb them and then leave. And I'm like,
yeah, that's cool.
Really doing nothing.
Exactly. The old school squash match. WWE this for years. It only goes so far. Then transferred over to Goldberg and then Braun Breaker. And yeah, you can only do it for so long. It's supposed to be temporary, kind of a quick in and out. But as far as like
good
overall
filler.
Yeah, exactly. And overall storyline purposes doesn't do much. But yeah, I think now collectively after saying these things out loud, we're kind of seeing a theme of, yeah, maybe they just don't, maybe they view guys that are just smaller, more athletic more than they do guys that are just bigger, which is sad. That's not fair. That's not really on the actual wrestlers themselves.
No, because I feel like these guys are so much more than that. Yeah, they're great athletes, but
absolutely,
their promo skills have improved tremendously and they deserve a lot more.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Preston Vance. This one is a little bit of an interesting character as well. He was, to me personally, it just seems he was always either on or off. And part of what we're calling this timeout or time's up, and he's kind of like in the middle of there.
Yeah, because he was part of the Dark Order. And I know he was handpicked by Brody. And so he was always doing that. And then he moved over to the other faction with Roosh, which I kind of like that. And then he just up and disappeared. So I don't really know what happened to him. He's still on the roster. And I don't know if he's doing anything independently or if he's just taking time off. I don't know.
Yeah. It could be another creative freeze that they just don't know what to do with them, which again, not the wrestler's fault, just more behind the scenes stuff.
And that's the thing is like he was with Roosh, and Roosh has been coming out consistently with pretty decent matches. So every time he comes out, I'm like, are we going to see him come out too? But every time it's just like crickets. So I don't know where he's at.
Absolutely. Let's switch over to the female side. What about Saraya? And I know we know about previous health concerns earlier in her life when she kind of came over. It seemed that subsided, but obviously she came in the business super young and hungry and ready to kind of go, but it almost seems like they don't know what to do with her either.
Yeah, because I mean, she's a well-known name, obviously, previously known as Paige, and she comes from a wrestling family. And then with the issue with her neck, so I was even surprised she even came back, period. I'm glad to have her back. And she came out with a bang, 1 or 2 years ago. And now, I mean, she had some heat with Britt Baker, and then that kind of faded, obviously, when Britt left. And now she is like the leader of the Outcasts. And then with Ruby Soho being pregnant, I know she just recently had a match with Mariah May, so I know she still has it. She's great. I don't know where she's at.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's another mystery. It's kind of again that maybe when it comes to the actual creative aspect of it, there's so many different ways you can kind of go. And the truth is, it sounds like they just don't know what to do with certain wrestlers, which is sad. Again, they're paying a lot of money for these guys. So
I'm curious how long their contracts are.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That I do not know. I'm sure it's gonna change from wrestler to wrestler, but they paid a lot of money for some of these guys, especially because they wanted to make sure that they had them before the competition did. So this was it's definitely interesting. Let's move on to Butcher and the Blade. I know you had some. I know you're pretty passionate about Butcher and the Blade. What would you like to say?
No, I like them. I've always liked them, and they were there with the bunny, and I got to see Allie, the bunny,
Nice.
at River City Wrestling Con, and I don't think she's on the roster anymore. And she has her own podcast about like horror movies, which I love. But Butcher and the Blade, I don't know where they are. It's I don't know if they're doing Ring of Honor stuff and I'm just missing it. Just because I know that they're all tied together now, so they're jumping from each promotion. So maybe I am missing something, and who knows? There could be an injury that I may not be aware of, but I just haven't seen them very much. So I could be wrong, where it could be more of a physical thing rather than a creative thing.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
Speaking of teams, team I loved, and I would literally just I'd always raise the volume when they came out. The Acclaimed. They were featured for so long every single week. I mean, you want to talk about getting the pop of the night. It would constantly happen each week. They were so topical in every single city they went to. And now I swear to you, they have a very dull storyline. They're barely featured, and I just don't get it. This is the one where I kind of will vent a little bit. I just don't get it because I mean, it was such a hot angle to come out, say something topical for every single city, get a crowd reaction. And for them to not take advantage of that just doesn't make any sense. And it's always fresh material. And it gets, when you have fresh material that is so topical, you're always going to get the fans' attention. So, this one boggles my mind.
It's not that they're not still top guys. I really think they are. And they're still present on the show. I think it's now just the heat that they have with the Young Bucks, and there hasn't been a lot to it. It's a lot of, they'll turn off the mics when he walks out to do his intro rap or something like that. And I know they just did that parody video, I think on Dynamite a week or two ago, making fun of them, which I thought was hilarious. But I'm like, what are we doing though? I don't know. Is there going to be obviously there's going to be a match eventually, but I think this one is falling short for me because I've always liked their other like the other things that they had going on. I loved it when they were against the Guns
Yeah,
for that
exactly.
time. That was fun, especially with Billy Gunn. But I feel like this one I'm not believing, or I'm not enjoying as much, which is okay. They can change and evolve, and they're still great. But
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, and our last wrestler that we're going to talk about in AEW is going to be Danhausen. Um, what are your thoughts?
he really disappeared. I know he randomly comes out with Orange Cassidy.
Yeah,
Um, and then I knew he had an injury a while ago, but I think he's doing more indie stuff, because I actually saw him when AEW came here to Jacksonville. Um, I was in line getting merch, and Danhausen walked out from the locker room, and so
nice.
I was like, okay, he's here, but what are you doing? So, and I was like, okay, maybe he's going to make an appearance, and he never did for any of the tapings. So
Yeah,
I don't know what he's doing. I'm assuming he's just doing indie work. I don't know.
yeah, which is possible, but again, if you're paying more money than these other independent promotions, then you really got to put your foot down and say, hey, this is what you're doing.
I mean, if you're going to pay me already, you know, guaranteed money, but you're still not going to book me and I can go do whatever I want, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm just the type of person where it's better to be seen even for 30 seconds or like a 1 minute segment, consistently, rather than give me a good run for a month and then I disappear for a year. I just don't think it's smart. I don't know. That's just my thinking
No,
as.
I'm actually with you on that. All right, we're actually gonna jump over to WWE. First we got Dexter Loomis, who's now part of the Wyatt Six, which is awesome. But yeah, he was gone for a while. And again, we're gonna mention guys that even if they are relevant, they're not. They may have disappeared for a little bit, or they're kind of floating in and out. So, I want to hear your thoughts about him,
Oh,
Jacksonville
he's
guy.
been on my radar for a year or two. I love Dexter Loomis. I loved his character. I loved that whole thing with the Miz, and he was married to Indy, and I just loved his character, but I just felt like he could do so much more. And then when he just kind of disappeared, I was like, oh no, where is he? Is he just like done? And then all of a sudden it was leaked that he had a beard, and he got rid of that clean shaven
Yeah,
face, and he's part of the Wyatt Six as I don't know the full name, but it's the Buzzard.
yeah.
And I love it. And I'm so excited that he's back. And I think this is perfect for him because he is so mysterious and dark. And I love it. I'm so excited he's back. And I can't wait to see him in the ring.
Absolutely. Yeah, again, and some of these guys that we are mentioning, even if they are irrelevant again, which is awesome. We want to point out that they at one point in time that they were kind of out of the picture. So good to be back. So next guy we're talking about is LA Knight. This is my personal favorite. For a guy that gets as much pop as he does, sometimes he just vanishes and just kind of just floats. He was in Money in the Bank. We knew he was going to win, which sucked. He kind of goes to the ebbs and flows as well. I know he's going to be in the Intercontinental title match at SummerSlam. They better have him win. But yeah, he kind of just goes back and forth too. And I don't understand that at all because he's super hot, especially with the crowd.
Yeah. And he's always been one of our guys that we've been rooting for years. And poor thing, he just can't, like, once we think he's going to get a push, he just disappears. And we're like, where'd he go? And that's the thing. A point of this discussion is it's not the matter of they completely disappeared. It's just inconsistency of where are they on the show? Where are they in bookings? And, what's going on with them. So LA Knight has always been a favorite. I think he always will get a huge pop. He's so likable. Like I said, he's always like a good mix of Stone Cold and The Rock. I love him.
Yeah.
But I really don't see him having the actual heavyweight championship. I see him more as an IC holder. So he's a good worker. So fingers crossed they finally give him at least the Intercontinental title. I really think he will.
Sure.
But yeah, it's just the inconsistency. Like, we'll see him, he'll get a pop, and it's not that he's not getting booked for main events. I mean, obviously he has been, but it's just, he just falls short.
Absolutely. And next guy we're going to talk about, who now is apparently of talks of potentially jumping ship, Ricochet. This one breaks my heart because, wow, talking about a guy that's a showstopper athletically, and for them to not be able to use him properly, I don't get it at all.
Yeah. I liked him. He did really great in-ring work. I just feel like sometimes
the only thing I can think of is they can't find someone that can match his athletic ability, and that's why they don't know what to do with him. That's the only thing I can think of.
Do you think he's going to go to AEW?
Yeah, and he should. I mean, have a fresh start and get booked properly with other athletic guys. I think will be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Right.
I would hope so.
Next guy we're going to talk about is Shinsuke. This one is really bizarre. He was so hot in NXT. They haven't won the Rumble. He should have won. And then they put him in random storylines. He was in a storyline with Cody, but then that just stopped, and that didn't make no sense. Again, I don't get it. I just don't think they know what to do with him.
I don't either. And I really like him, and he always gets a good pop. And when I was front row at Raw last year, that was like the guy that my brother Eric wanted to like see and touch. And he luckily ran to us and did his whole thing where he laid on the audience, and he was just so much fun, and he's so great in the ring, and I really like him, but I just feel like he's now being used as more of like a filler and a jobber where he's just taking losses. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then he just disappeared. So I don't know. I'm like, let me know where they're going and when they're coming back, just so I know.
Exactly. All right. All right. And Akira, this is another one that, I mean, we thought that they were going to do something major, and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled under, and I don't get it.
He was promising too. Yeah. Because he was part of the Alpha Academy, running around with them. And, you know, I thought he was going to do something with them, and I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I don't get it either. All right, that actually wraps up our list. Please DM us on Instagram and tell us whether you agree, disagree, so maybe somewhere in the middle. If you have either wrestlers that you think, let us know if you have wrestlers that you think are kind of vanished as well, or that you would like to see get pushed more.
Yeah, and if you know anything about the status of any of these people, and if they are coming back, or if it is an injury, let us know.
Please do so. All right, that wraps up this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. Until we see you next time.
Bye, friends.